On a sweltering summer evening in July 1993, the once peaceful streets of West Memphis, Arkansas were forever marred by an unspeakable tragedy. It was the 4th of July, and for the residents of this small town, it should have been a day filled with joy and celebration. But instead, the discovery of 3 brutally murdered 8-year-old boys would shatter the tranquility of their community. Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers were just innocent kids who loved to play together in the same neighborhood where they lived. On that fateful night, their families received a call from police that would change their lives forever. The scene was one of unimaginable horror: 3 young boys, savagely beaten, mutilated, and left for dead in an abandoned house on Woodruff Road. The investigation that followed was like nothing West Memphis had ever seen before. Detectives were baffled by the brutality and seemingly inexplicable nature of the crime. It would take weeks of painstaking work to unravel the tangled threads of evidence, but one crucial piece of the puzzle would ultimately seal the fate of a killer. As detectives dug deeper into the case, they began to focus on a small detail that would prove to be the key to unlocking justice: a chilling smile captured in a police lineup. The perpetrator's grin was so brazen, it seemed almost defiant. Little did anyone know at the time, this twisted smile would one day become an iconic symbol of guilt and accountability. But for now, it remained a haunting enigma, fueling the intense scrutiny that gripped the town as detectives searched for answers. What could drive someone to commit such heinous crimes? Was it a twisted desire for power or control? Or was this simply a case of pure, unadulterated evil? The search for justice had begun, and the people of West Memphis were determined to see that those responsible would pay for their actions. The streets of West Memphis, Arkansas were forever marred by the gruesome discovery on that fateful July 4th in 1993. 3 young lives, full of promise and innocence, were brutally extinguished in an abandoned house just outside the town's limits. Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers, all 8 years old, had gone missing earlier that day, sparking a frantic search by family members and local authorities. As police combed through the dense woods surrounding West Memphis, they stumbled upon a horrific scene. The boys' bodies were found in various states of mutilation, with evidence suggesting a brutal and premeditated attack. Stevie Branch's body was found naked from the waist down, while Michael Moore's was bound with rope. Christopher Byers' remains showed signs of severe torture, including lacerations and broken bones. The investigation that followed was one of the most extensive in Arkansas history at the time. Over 1,000 tips poured in, but no concrete leads emerged until a few days later when Damian Eccles, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miskelly were taken into custody for questioning. The 3 teenagers were acquaintances of the victims and had been known to hang out with them. However, it was Miskelly's interrogation that would raise eyebrows and set off alarm bells within law enforcement. Questioned by police without a lawyer present, he made incriminating statements about his alleged involvement in the murders. His words sparked intense media scrutiny, but many questioned the reliability of his confessions due to his low IQ and history of behavioral issues. The case was riddled with inconsistencies from the start, with some eyewitnesses placing the suspects at the crime scene while others contradicted these claims. Nevertheless, Miskelly's statement would become a pivotal piece of evidence in the forthcoming trial. As prosecutors built their case against the 3 teenagers, one chilling detail stood out: the eerie smile that would later be revealed to have been etched on Eccles' face during his interrogation. As investigators delved deeper into the gruesome murders, a crucial piece of evidence emerged that would forever change the trajectory of the case. The West Memphis Police Department's forensic team discovered a critical link between the victims and one key suspect, Damian Eccles. Eccles' journal entries, seized by police as part of their investigation, revealed an unsettling fascination with death, the occult, and human sacrifice. Further analysis of these journals would later prove pivotal in establishing motive. The notebooks detailed a twisted fascination with rituals and practices eerily similar to those attributed to cults. A particular passage caught investigators' attention: "The time has come for us to take our rightful place among the gods." These words seemed chillingly prescient, foreshadowing the atrocities that had transpired. The police also discovered an incriminating letter, penned by Eccles, which graphically described a desire to torture and kill. This disturbing epistle, written in a manner eerily devoid of remorse, would later be used as evidence against him. As detectives pored over the contents, they began to piece together the puzzle of events leading up to the triple homicide. On the surface, Damien Eccles appeared an unassuming high school student, a quiet and introverted teenager who blended into the background. However, this facade masked a seething cauldron of dark emotions, the very same passions that would eventually be used against him in court. The case of the West Memphis Three has become a chilling reminder that even in the most seemingly idyllic communities, evil can lurk beneath the surface. The gruesome murders of Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers on July 4, 1993, sent shockwaves through the small town of West Memphis, Arkansas, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that the killer's modus operandi was far more calculated than initially thought. The fact that the victims were tied to trees and subjected to severe physical abuse speaks to a level of depravity that is almost impossible to comprehend. The subsequent trial of Damien Eccles, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Misskelley would become one of the most high-profile cases in American true crime history. While the defendants were ultimately convicted of the heinous crimes, many argued that the evidence was circumstantial at best, and that a miscarriage of justice had occurred. It wasn't until years later, when new DNA evidence came to light, that the truth finally began to unravel. The killer's smile, captured in a grainy police photograph, would become an unsettling harbinger of the evil that lay within. As one can only imagine, the faces of the victims' families must have been etched with a mix of anguish and resolve as they watched the justice system slowly begin to right its wrongs. The West Memphis Three case serves as a stark reminder of the dark corners of human nature that we often prefer not to confront. It also highlights the crucial importance of rigorous investigation, unyielding advocacy for victims' rights, and the ongoing pursuit of truth in the face of overwhelming adversity. The gruesome discovery sent shockwaves throughout the tight-knit community of West Memphis. As police began their investigation, they focused on Damien Eccles, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Misskelley, three young men who had been acquaintances of the victims. Initially, Misskelley's cooperation seemed like a breakthrough in the case. However, during his interrogation by Detective Bryn Ridge, he made statements that would later be deemed crucial to the investigation. Misskelley revealed to detectives that he had witnessed Eccles and Baldwin near the crime scene on the day of the murders. He claimed they had been involved in a ritualistic ceremony, which allegedly led to the tragic events. His testimony painted a vivid picture of an occult-inspired motive behind the heinous crimes. As investigators pored over Misskelley's statements, they discovered inconsistencies that raised red flags. Meanwhile, Eccles and Baldwin began cooperating with authorities, providing detailed descriptions of their whereabouts on the fateful night. Their alibis seemed solid, but detectives couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss. The investigation hit a roadblock as no concrete evidence linked the three suspects to the crime scene. That was until forensic expert Dr. Frank Peretti stumbled upon a crucial piece of evidence, a torn strip of fabric caught in a fence near the abandoned house. The discovery reignited hope for justice, and detectives began re-examining Misskelley's testimony under a new light. They noticed discrepancies between his statements and those provided by Eccles and Baldwin. It was as if he had been trying to place them at the scene, but what about the torn fabric? Could it be connected to one of the suspects' clothing or an unrelated incident altogether? The investigation had turned a corner, but questions still lingered. Would they find concrete proof, or would the trail go cold once again? As we reflect on the devastating events that unfolded in West Memphis, Arkansas, it's hard not to feel a sense of outrage and frustration. For years, justice seemed out of reach for Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers' families. The murders shook the nation, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and unfulfilled promises. But on January 8, 1994, something remarkable happened. Damien Eccles, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Misskelley's trial finally came to an end. The verdict delivered that day would change the course of American justice forever. After 2.5